Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all you beautiful faces all around the world. It's your boy Most. Welcome back to Doing the Most. So I asked on Twitter, I was curious if you guys would be down for maybe daily uploads where I just talk about what happened the night before on games and what's going to be happening today, just to get you guys caught up if you missed anything. So let me know what you guys think. If that should be a thing, I'll make a little separate playlist for that. But just keep me updated. Let me know what's good if that's a cool idea. We'll begin with last night though. Opening night. Wow, what a beauty. I don't know, it just felt so good having basketball back. It felt good to have something to turn on and just watch guys actually play meaningful games and all that. Unfortunately, the first game, the Warriors weren't ready. We talked about it the other day, how Klay not being there was going to impact it. And it just was a shame to see him out there without him because the game wasn't as competitive as it should have been. Yes, they might have only lost by 20, but it wasn't even a contest. The Nets came out there and sucker punched them from the start. You saw KD actually look really healthy. He looked great. KD only had 22, wasn't that efficient, but Kyrie had 26, very efficient, and they just got everyone involved. Everyone had a good game. Everyone was doing a lot. Caris LeVert contributed as well. He shot 3 of 5 from deep. He had 20 points as well as 9 rebounds and 5 assists. Just a great connection from the team. You could see that they were happy to be playing and playing together. That's not something I expected. On the Warriors, however, there are some positives. James Wiseman looks good, even though some of the points he had were in garbage time. He still showed that he was not scared at all. He showed that he was willing to put in work and do something. He was not backing down from anything. Kelly Oubre, however, looked like he didn't want to pass the ball. He was 3 for 14. He's got to get involved with the team. He's got to figure it out. As well as Andrew Wiggins, who went 4 of 16. No one's winning like that. Steph Curry had 20 and 10. He was held for most of the game. They were double, tripling, but he tried to do his thing. Respect on that. Now we'll skip over to the second game where we had the Lakers opening night ceremony. The league and the LA Lakers did something really cool where basically, since they couldn't really do a proper ring ceremony, there was no fans, each of their families made a short video congratulating them and presenting them with the ring. So that was really cute. It was really cool. I actually enjoyed it a lot. If you guys missed that, go check it out for sure. It was definitely something that just was heartfelt, you know? It was nice to see that. But then when the game started, it looked like they were out of rhythm. It looked like they were guys that just got out the bubble. They didn't know how to play with each other. They added 2 new starters to that team, right? Marc Gasol as well as Dennis. We'll talk about Dennis later. But basically, the Clippers came out there and sucker punched them. They were up by 22 in the first half, and you thought it was kind of over. But the Lakers are champs, and they came roaring back. They had a couple good runs in them. They cut it down in the third. They tied it at 75 apiece. But Paul George, where do we begin with PG-13? Y'all called him Pandemic P for the longest. We all did. But it looks like he got vaccinated because that man was not missing at all. It was a different breed. He shot 13 of 18 from the field. He shot 5 of 8 from 3, had 33 points. He looked unstoppable. Kawhi had 26 points on 26 shot attempts. Wasn't the most efficient game. But guys like Serge Ibaka had big impacts in their first game. 15 points, 6 rebounds. You had a guy like Nicholas Batum just look like he fit in. He was helping them, even though his impact doesn't show on the stat sheet. And then Zubac's energy when he was inserted into the game definitely changed the pace, changed the game around. On the other side, you had LeBron and AD. Neither of them contributed to their norm, right? Neither of them came out there and did their thing. LeBron was a little more passive. Then you had guys like Dennis. They were trying to involve. Dennis Schroeder had a really good game. 14 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists. Yes, Dennis had 12 rebounds. Montrezl had a really efficient game against his former team. 17 points, 6 of 7 from the field, and a couple instances where him and Pat Bev exchanged words. There was definitely high energy in that game. Definitely some bitter rivalry building in LA between the little brother, big brother thing we talking about. But Pandemic P had the last laugh. And before we direct our attention to tonight's game, I will say Kyle Kuzma had a pretty decent game. I know it didn't look like it, but he shot 6 of 11, 15 points. And then Marc Gasol 0 points, pretty much 0 stats. He was in foul trouble the whole game, 5 fouls, barely stayed on the court. But just a reminder to any fans out there, this is game 1. So like, don't get too high, don't get too low. We saw this last year. The Clippers did the same thing to the Lakers. So just remember that opening night doesn't mean much. The whole season doesn't mean too much. It's all building blocks. Obviously, you want to have a good seed. You're trying to build chemistry. You're trying to get yourself in a rhythm, a groove, and then figure stuff out so you can adjust and be ready for the playoffs. So it's very, very important not to get too high, too low over regular season wins, especially first games of the season. Like, it's always funny to see like, oh, your team has a loss. I can't relate when there's like 4 games played. You know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is it's not a race. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon, right? You got to be ready when it matters most. So that's that. Let's talk about tonight's games just really quick. I'm not going to make these too long. These are going to be like daily little episodes. You got the Cleveland Cavaliers playing against the Charlotte Hornets. We're going to watch LaMelo Ball in his first NBA game. He's not expected to start, but I'm sure he gets some good minutes out there. We got the New York Knicks versus the Indiana Pacers. Some of these teams we're mentioning, the ones that didn't play in the bubble, haven't played NBA basketball in over 200 games. That is actually ridiculous to think about. Like 260, some of these teams just haven't been on the court against other competition besides the preseason, obviously. But we're ready to watch these guys go. So Knicks Pacers at 7 p.m. Eastern. Then you got the defending Eastern Conference champs going against their Florida buddies, the Orlando Magic. The Wizards will be playing the 76ers, the new coach Sixers. Let's also not forget that Russell Westbrook is now on the Washington Wizards, and he has a little bit of beef with Joel Embiid. So that could be a fun matchup for sure. All 4 of those games will be starting at the same time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Now our TNT game of the night is between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics. That should be a great matchup between 2 powerhouses in the East. 2 teams that we expect to make it very far. Both teams made a couple changes this offseason, so that should be a great matchup as well. We have a long slate of games ahead of us tonight. You got the Pelicans versus the Raptors. The Hawks will be playing the Bulls, 2 young teams. The Hawks look completely different. Then you got the Thunder versus the Rockets. The Thunder are coming out there without Steven Adams for once. No more Steven, bunch of young pieces. Then you got the Rockets with their new John Wall point guard. I'm excited to see what happens there. You also have the Spurs versus the Grizzlies. Man, there's so many teams. I feel like I've been talking forever. I can't believe that like second day we're getting all of this. We're spoiled for sure. Spurs Grizzlies at 8. Then you also have Detroit and Minnesota playing at 8 as well. We're almost done. Kings Nuggets at 9. You got the Trailblazers and the Utah Jazz playing at 10. That should be an interesting game. Both those teams did pretty well in the bubble, and now you got the Portland Trailblazers looking healthy. And then the last game of the night will be on ESPN at 10:30. You got the Dallas Mavericks going up against the new look Suns. Yes, their new look just from Chris Paul being there. Should be a really interesting game. Let me know which games you're most excited about. I can't wait to watch a lot of basketball today. And let's go, NBA fans. I hope you guys are ready. Fasten your seatbelts. We're out for a wild ride. If you guys don't know, the NBA season was cut short. It's going to be 72 games instead of 82, and they're going to compact it. They're going to make it smaller because they're going to try to start next year a little earlier, and it's just going to be interesting. I'm excited. Let's get it. I hope you all have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe and peace.